Okay, so would you use an AI therapist?
I think I would, as a complement to human therapy.
I've tried ChatGPT when I've had a question that I've been worried about, and I found that helpful.
Me and my therapist have had a relationship of being a soundboard. And for me, AI can be a really good soundboard.
Artificial intelligence in therapy actually goes way back to the 1960s. Meet Eliza, the world's first ever AI chatbot. Written with just 420 lines of code, it was designed by this guy to mimic the language of a psychotherapist. 60 years later, chatbots have come a long, long way. Now they can edit passive-aggressive emails to sound more friendly, plan holidays in seconds, and DJ your party on command, as well as acting as your 24/7 therapist. But let's be clear, AI therapy is just one of the many stages in mental health's digital revolution. So much has already happened. There are algorithms that analyze speech to spot early signs of psychosis, apps that use a simple game of Tetris to help your brain reprocess a traumatic memory. We've even got digital avatars that help patients process the voices they hear. Today, the brains behind AI are promising less admin for therapists, improved training, and perhaps most promisingly, easier access to mental health care. Sounds impressive, right? Well, when it comes to AI and therapy, there's a lot of different views out there. So, most therapy is a conversation, and conversation is something AI is getting pretty good at.
We don't have very many, mental health experts who will readily be available when you need to talk, when you need to chat, when you need to bounce off something that you're thinking about. And that's where chatbots come in play to kind of act as an aid for a person who wants to chat, who wants to get information out, who wants to inquire.
The more powerful models are trained on tons of existing written material, identifying common ways each word is used, using that data to piece together a reply to your message. But not every mental health chatbot works the same. One might scan for super specific words, like a symptom you typed out to trigger a reply. One might be slightly more rigid, giving you a list of messages to pick from, each with a pre-written response.
Many people have tried putting in a question to these agents, and they offer anonymity. They offer the sort of wisdom of humanity, okay, albeit through a sort of, an AI lens. And it may be that it's helpful in different ways from a human. It's maybe that's unhelpful in different ways from a human. But I think that we've got to think about it as a empirical question.
When used for therapy, some people have mentioned how they like the warmth, companionship, and the advice of the chatbot. One described their conversation as a safe space. This study found that an AI model trained on medical data has the potential to help people reframe their negative thoughts. Another concluded that chatbots are just as effective as human therapists for those with depression, anxiety, and eating disorders. However, not everyone has experiences like this. Some research found that others are more frustrated, saying their conversations felt empty, generic, and not knowledgeable enough.
Being able to ask the right questions through an AI-based tool is in itself a really important skill set. You're only going to get information that is as useful as the prompt that you enter in. And so as I have learnt more over time, I've recognized that actually we need individuals who are trained properly to be able to make the most use of it.
People say they'll say different things to an AI agent than they'll say to a human being. So they'll talk about things sometimes that are both smaller and both bigger. So they'll say things that are sort of smaller because they're not worried about the AI being bored or saying this is unimportant, and also bigger because they're not worried about judgment because there's no judgment involved. So it may be that we could use these things in different ways therapeutically.
Those with lived experience of mental health conditions have already questioned whether replacing a human therapist with a chatbot could increase isolation, which is exactly what one study by researchers at MIT and OpenAI found.
For me, a human therapist brings a immediately responsive touch to not just what is being said, but also to what isn't being said.
To add to that, most AI chatbots are trained on English language data, often from Western contexts. This raises questions about how well they serve people from different cultures or those who don't speak English as a first language.
So over the years, maybe the last 2 to 3 years, as African researchers, we've been very intentional on trying to fill that gap. And we've seen remarkable performance for understanding African languages, African accents and dialects. So it is a process, that's what I can say. It's not that you will wake up in the morning and the models will work. It has to be an intentional process to build up the data sets, to collaborate with the communities where you're collecting these data sets, and then make sure that your models that you present are able to speak to the context that you want.
If training data has a narrow cultural view, AI might ignore important nuances and context in your messages, or reinforce harmful stereotypes around race, gender, and sexuality, which could widen existing inequalities. And of course, it's not just chatbots. Your human therapist can hold these biases too. Either way, whether it's AI or face-to-face, those developing the therapy must always work closely with the communities they want to help. They also need to collaborate with ethics experts to make sure the training is inclusive and the support is safe. If we do all this properly, AI could be part of the solution to offering a more effective, consistent approach to mental health care, like one chatbot currently used by the UK's National Health Service. So far, it's already making a difference, with faster referral times and nearly every user finding the chatbot helpful. Joyce is actually working on something similar, focusing on speech recognition, powering hospital call centres with AI so more patients can get the care they need.
When the models are in, as the person is talking, that it's easy to tell that there's this that's going on about the patient, that there's this anxiety disorder, or that there's this depression disorder, and that can really help the psychiatrist to move quickly, to escalate the condition quickly, and then help to intervene with the different patients that they have.
So I think that there's some really exciting things, and I think this is where it's actually less controversial. There's a great training initiative that is for people who are frontline in mental health emergencies, and AI can then train them. It can simulate those situations, give them feedback, tell them the right things to say, and train large numbers of people so that actually they are really skilled up quite fast.
Although, yes, AI might be capable of speeding up assessments, staff training, note-taking, or even the waitlist for human therapy, a lot of people have concerns about how all this data is being used and protected.
Just feeling a part of the process and understanding and feeling as though that you have agency over what's happening around you is a really important way to build trust. If we're kind of reluctant about AI and its data privacy, then really we should be reluctant about most other technological platforms and, you know, the privacy of our data on there. So there's this interesting balance, really, isn't there?
So who's regulating the chatbot therapists, and what policies do we need to protect everyone? Or if things really do go wrong while someone is under the care of AI, what happens to them? Clearly, the role of artificial intelligence in mental health poses lots of questions. We should approach it with caution. But at the same time, there's this massive potential to expand healthcare access for those who need it most. To make sure that potential is realised in the right way, breakthroughs in technology need to be paired with the right regulation, involving those with lived experience at every stage. So, one more time, would you use an AI therapist?
So the best therapist for me might not be the best therapist for you. And I think the best therapist for both of us would be someone that promoted in us a sense of autonomy, a sense of hope, new skills that we didn't have, new insights that we didn't have, and made us feel better about ourselves and we're able to get on with our lives. Those are the things I'd want.